Hi, and welcome to our first Zoom session. Did you have to go to a waiting room to get in? You did? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know how to get rid of that. So there might be some people that'll be so-called knocking at the door. Welcome to Legal Issues, our first Zoom meeting. And we have a few people here, and we have a few people that are going to watch this recording. So, can you all hear me? Okay, good. Hang on one second. Let me see if there's anybody else coming in here. So, let me share the screen with you. Okay. Question, can you see my slide? Okay, and do you see any notes on the side? You do? You're not supposed to see those. I don't know. That's okay. Anyway, I don't know how to do that. There we go, like that. Okay, so why don't we start off with any questions you might have about the course? You have to unmute yourselves. Can you hear me? Okay, does anybody have any questions about the course?
Could you explain a little bit about the professional involvement requirement?
Okay, let's go to that. Give me 1 second here. I should have done this. Okay, assignments. Where do you see that? Oh, I see. Okay, here we go. You're going to do two things over the course of the semester. Two things that benefit you in your career. Whether you're going to volunteer, and that's difficult right now because of COVID, or you're going to watch a webinar on something that has value to you. You may not be able to do any volunteer work. If you are available to do that, things like buddy bowling, working for the art, things like that are fine. But if you're not available to, feel free to watch any professional webinar that might be of help to you. Does that answer your question? Hello?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, what other questions have you got about the course? No other questions? Okay, well, let's start with Michaela. How is the course going for you?
It's going well. I can find everything pretty easily.
Good. How about you, Bailey? Bailey. Hello? Oh, something I said. How about you, Paige?
It's going pretty good. I was able to find everything too.
Good. And Jonah?
Everything's going good for me too.
Okay, and all right. So let's talk a little bit about the special education history. You know, we had special education for hundreds of years, but it, you know, mostly up until like this past, you know, mostly up until the 20th century, it was for rich people. You know, like for example, maybe the deaf or people with you know, visual impairments. You know, not so much for people with intellectual disabilities. They were unfortunately in institutions. And in 1975, in our country, we adopted an overarching law. And I was in school at the time, in college at the time. It was PL 94-142. And that public law was the first time that nationally we had the beginnings of uniform special education in this country. I go to Thailand 2 or 3 times a year, and I work with people on special ed. There's some good, some bad, nothing uniform. In this country, every town across America pretty much has the same model for special education. So, excuse me one second. So when I went to school in the 80s, for my SPED credential, it had just passed. And in the beginning, we would get IEPs from some states that we would have to redo. But as the quality improved, nowadays, I think special education is probably the best thing we do in our system. And so we started in 1975. We only dealt with ages 5 to 18. Now we deal as IDEA. PL 94-142 became IDEA in 1990, as you read. And over time, now it's been reauthorized 3 times, 90, 97, 2004. And now we serve ages 3 to 21. And in some cases, younger than 3. And so it's really, and now we have, in 1990, for example, we added autism, assistive technology. In 2004, we started aligning with standards-based education. And so special education now is really state of the art in our country. We've benefited quite a bit by federal laws. Certain laws helped an awful lot. And one of them was IDEA, or at the beginning, PL 94-142. Another one is the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, 1990. What does that do? Well, it provides access, like elevators, ramps. You go to other countries like in Asia. I mean, I visited an arts program on the 7th floor in China, of a school in China. I don't know how children with disabilities could get up there and there are no elevators. We take for granted in our country that we have access for people. We have parking for people with disabilities. And again, it might be the best thing that we do. You know, and one of the things that I also want to highlight for you is some of the important court cases. Well, the first one the one that comes to mind the most is Brown versus Board of Education. And while that was for, that really what that did was it knocked down separate but equal. Because in 1896, you know, with that Plessy versus Ferguson case, they said that you could have segregated schools and serve people no problem. But it's not true. It didn't work. Separate was not equal. And now, over time, we've done a lot to provide equal opportunity for students. We're not perfect. And, you know, and it's hard to go against, like as we become more aware today with some of the racial enlightenment that's going on in our country, we realize that while just because we're not segregated doesn't mean we don't have some systemic issues that we have to deal with. Just like with COVID, as you notice that more people in poor communities are affected than in rich communities. Well, you know, that again shoots down the premise of separate but equal. So Brown v. Board opened up desegregated slowly, but it also paved the way for other people on the margins, women, people with disabilities, people, gay people. Over time, that was landmark legislation. Another very important one was the Larry P. case you read about. And you just can't give an IQ test to a child to determine whether they have an intellectual disability, because IQ tests have been proven to be culturally discriminatory. The same thing goes with the Diana case you read about. Or now we don't test people in a language they don't know to determine eligibility. And some of that is common sense, but keep in mind that the government didn't give us anything over time. The reason all of these changes occurred because of legislation, lawsuits brought on behalf of children by parents, by educators. We fought for everything. And in other countries, you will notice, other countries right now are fighting for the same things that we have already done in the area of special education. One might say that we're not as competitive in the sciences, and that might be true, but it'd be very hard for us, for people to criticize our system of special education. There are issues with regard to inclusion and least restrictive environment that I'm going to get into in the future. But I just wanted to give you this, you know, what happened was in this country in the 1800s, around 1850, when Horace Mann got on that horse and rode from town to town to convince people to have a public school. And we created these one-room schools. And in the cities, we created these huge classrooms. And out of these huge classrooms, the kids that couldn't be managed were kids who didn't speak the language, or kids with disabilities, or kids with behavioral issues, and they were put into different rooms. And those different rooms eventually became specialties. And somebody had to run the schools. So we created administrators, although I regret that, but that's another story. It's important to realize that these things came out of necessity as we grew and became more diverse. Any questions, any comments? Come on. No? Okay. I want to show you one of the assignments that you're going to have in this class, have you seen this assignment on what they call it, learning activity 2? Where is it? Individual presentation. Any questions on that assignment? Have you thought about what you want to do yours on? This is a lonely job at times. Somebody talk to me. Paige, I'll pick on you.
That's okay. I kind of haven't looked at that quite yet, but
Okay.
it's basically we just have to like look at the prepare a presentation for the rest of the class on a topic. So like it has to be something from like anything we've read about.
It could be. It could be an issue. It could be a certain disability that interests you. I have another choice for you. Can you see my screen here? Can you see these?
PowerPoint.
Can you see this book? These books here?
If you did a play from current slide, then we'll be able to see it a better.
How's
There you
that?
Perfect.
If you want, instead of something from the text to do your presentation on, you are welcome to read one of these books and tell us about it. These are all books that I have read, and they're really good. Like, for example, if you're interested in high school, here's one on the origins of the American high school. Here's one about how they used to, laggards in our schools, how they used to refer to underachieving children as retarded, but they, in the class, but not what we refer to as children with retardation today, or children with intellectual disabilities. Here's one that was really good that, I don't know what it says here in 1971, but it was 1896. Oh, here it is. How the Other Half Lives, 1890. And the way they refer to people. These things are interesting books. And I will submit this list to you. And if you wish to do a book report, a report on one of these books, you can do that as well. I will warn you, there's nobody better than Kremen, but these are very long books. Okay, what else? Some of you have commented on my blog. How many of you have commented on my blog? I want to thank you for that. It's not required, but it's something that I've created to serve both students and teachers. And I very much appreciate, I have another one coming out today. It's a video blog post today. And what I'm trying to do is create a site for people that, that is helpful to them, both teachers, both students. And as my students now, you become my colleagues over time, and we can stay in touch that way. I hope that site works for you. Are there any other questions or anything that I can answer for you? Jonah, why don't people want to talk to me? What is it? Is it I'm old? I'm not relevant anymore, or what? Or is it early and we wanted Labor Day off, or what is it?
I just don't have any questions right now.
Okay. I got an email from my chancellor on Friday reminding me that Monday is a work day due to COVID. And that's why I figured, well, I didn't want to cheat you out of me working today. So I moved them to the mornings today. But the next time we have a session, it'll be in the evening. Is that better for people, you think?
Yeah.
perhaps. But I also thought about, well, where could they possibly be going? We have a pandemic going on, and I haven't left the house since March 15th. If you can believe that. Anyway, is there anything else I can do for you?
I see that there's like we have to have one of our assignments is like Zoom session 1, and we just have to like give a little spiel about what we thought about this.
Yeah,
That's what's due on September 13th, right?
right.
Okay. That's what
And the only reason I put it for the 13th because I figured you might forget about what we did by the time we got it, by the time the 20th came around.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
that there's nothing else in your life that you might want to think about. In my class. Of course.
All right. Thank you.
Are you getting something out of the course so far? Is there anything else I can add or how make it better?
I really enjoy these classes because like they obviously teach you things, but they go along too with like other classes that I've taken, and they just kind of like correspond with each other. So I think it's working out pretty well so far.
It's a program, right? And you know, you read about how online instruction is getting criticized out there. But you know, online instruction is not just turning on a camera. My class is done by the time when I started, and then I keep it going during the term. So that's one of the things that I talk about. Anyway, it's good to see you. I hope we'll have more next time. I'm recording it for those who I'm hoping it's recording for those who are who couldn't make it. And I will see you at the next Zoom session. I'm available if you guys need anything. I haven't left the house in 6 months, so if you need anything, all you got to do is send me an email. I'm probably online. All right? Okay, Dr. K signing off. See you guys later on. Bye.